Good afternoon, all. Camelback Trading 2724 coming to you this Friday afternoon, April 3rd. We're looking at the last 3 days of the market profile of the SPY ETF here on Window Trader. And as you can see, the way we had 4 days of balance up here, we are now in 3 days of balance. And just like those other 4 days that one time framed up, same thing, we're one time framing up. However, the big difference with this one is there's that huge gap that's been above us that we keep getting into, keep eating away at, yet failing to come close to closing it. It's now exactly 300 points. This was the most methodical grind down I think I've ever seen. I usually see these days during the summer on the way up. We had a chance for five sets of single prints, and I'm not talking about where we opened the next time frame and they were only 2 ticks or 3 cents and it got filled. I'm talking, they were decent, nothing huge, but decent, and all 5 got filled. Now, yes, we one time frame down a good part of the day into the afternoon. However, and I know a lot of people think call that a trend day, and that's fine. Whatever works, bless you. I need single prints for it to be a trend day down. They did not hold. Not a trend day, and it turned into a beautiful B shape for long liquidation. So for my money, all this was today was short-term players getting out all day. The volume, horrendous, 127 million. We're averaging 263 million. So on a day where we were down 2.5% almost, a good part, during the afternoon, we closed down over just about, 1.5%. Horrendous volume. If this was long-term sellers, do you think we're not going to continue down and we're going to miss yesterday's low by a couple of ticks or on Wednesday's low? Do you think they're going to fill single prints every time down? It was a mission. As soon as we pushed lower to a new low, I got long because there was absolutely no follow-through, total taper on the volume, and then just watch it fill the single prints. Now, yes, the easier play was probably being a seller all day, but I had a little bit of a bias from this morning. We opened, got into the gap. Again, value initially for a very short period of time was overlapping to higher, then became unchanged, then became overlapping to lower all afternoon. But I didn't do anything in A or B period. In fact, my machine was down in B period. I couldn't do anything. So when C started, came out, made a new low. We had singles, but there was no taper. We were right at yesterday's puck. I got long, back in. D period, did the same thing. Watched it take out C's low. Zero volume, zero follow through, got long, back in. I did it in C, D, E, F, and G. And G turned out to be a really nice one because just like you get a lot of times, F and G stop the one-time framing. Well, I'm sorry, not F and G and H usually. I was looking for that to happen here. It didn't happen to H period. And I was also long in H. But again, I took a decent sized position and watched H pop the top. Didn't last long, obviously. Came right back in. But turned out to be some really nice longs. And I didn't do anything after that. As most of you know, I'm not on the mic anymore in the pit. So it's been beautiful out. So actually, I've been sitting outside for 15, 20 minutes during each time frame just to come up to see where we close the time frame. We pushed down to new lows in J. And again, I said at that time, yesterday we had done that. And I was like, wow, can we have an outside day down? I said, I doubt it because yesterday's value is overlapping a higher all day. Right? And we had put in our low in A. So it was a totally different scenario today. Yes, we had taken out the high, but A's low was up here. So when we did coming down in J, I said there is a possibility for an outside day down. But the sellers just didn't have it in them. There was no volume, no follow through. And what happened? Late in the day, after J made a new low, KL, shorts covered. I thought they rallied too early. Even said that on Twitter. M came down, took out L. I thought there was a very good chance for a downside price probe. And this is why I stay away from M most times. But lo and behold, we ripped up. Now, here's an interesting stat. 3 days in a row now, M has taken out both L's high and low, as you can see, and 7 of the past 12 days. That's pretty unusual, I think. I've never really kept track of it. But usually when M takes a direction, if we're one-time framing up, it continues, or vice versa. But it's had a very, very interesting habit, 7 out of the past 12 days and 3 in a row, of taking out both sides. So that's why, even though we did take out L's low, and I thought the odds were very good for a price probe to the downside, the fact that the 350 algo ripped up and went higher didn't totally surprise me. So, lo and behold, Lady M does what she wants. Turned out to be a very nice day. If you were short all day, you had a very good day. But again, I was not in any despair, for lack of a better word, on any of my longs. They all worked out within literally minutes. It's not like I was long in a hole and waiting for this rally at the end of the day. Each long I took made money within minutes because the single prints didn't last. Know your competition. Longer term traders, big time money, would have kept pushing this down. The volume decreased on every time frame down. Right? Know yourself the best and know your competition second best. You knew it was short-term traders. All right. Let's go over destinations for Monday. So for the upside, our first one, and again, all we have today is the high and the low. We only ended 7 wide, no afternoon rally high, no afternoon pullback low, and certainly 5 sets of single prints that failed. So today's high of 253.22 and then filling the gap at 256.22. So it's still 300 points. Then we have all the other ones I've given you. 257.94 price spike and 259.94 9 wide from the 31st. You should have the other ones above that. For the downside, we have today's low of 245.22. Then a daily low of 244.59. And now our weekly low, which is Wednesday's low, of 243.90. And below that, that number I keep giving you of 239.75. Let's go to the charts. So the monthly, down, one-time framing down, right? We just started the month, so really not a lot to see there. I think the biggest factor going forward this month is two things. Do we have an inside month? And do we attempt to get back above the trend line? Those are the 2 things right now I'm looking for in the monthly. For the weekly, I'm calling it balance. Even though we almost had an outside week up last week, but failed, if you remember that. We are one-time framing up, but barely. We've barely stretched now these weekly highs. I'm calling it balance, but one-time framing up. But it's still balanced to me. And then daily, again, the volume, horrific. 132 million in this market anyway, it's horrific. 132 million, we're going to end up doing 135, 140 with the after hours. The worst by far of the week, and this is on a push down. Again, it's short-term players. But now, again, we talk about knowing your competition. Look what's going on here. Again, I'll say it again. Gaps are my main focus. This one and that one. We had a 4-day balance. They tried 4 times at the top. There's a huge void above there. Failed. Came down to the bottom of the balance. Right? Now, again, we took out the bottom of that balance on Wednesday. Tried to push lower. Right? Your next destination is that 239.75. Well, we couldn't push lower Thursday. And we couldn't push lower yesterday. In fact, we made new highs. So just like here, we were one-time framing up, we're one-time framing up here. But the difference here as opposed to here is here we got nice distance the first 2 days one-time framing up. So even though it was 6 days one-time framing, the last 4 got no distance. This is a little different because we're doing it on the, it's trying to come back up after a gap lower. I can understand the resistance here because of this large gap. I certainly couldn't understand it up here. So it remains to be seen. Have the long-term sellers walked away for the moment? I'd be surprised if they did. I still think we're not over the hump yet with this virus, right? And more importantly, not more importantly, but economically wise for the stock market, earnings are going to be horrendous. Horrendous. That's why even this morning, when they came out with that number this morning, and we rallied and took out yesterday's high, I was a little surprised. But then all of a sudden, just short-term players started shorting it, trying to push it down, and all we end up with is a perfect B shape for long liquidation, and that's what we end up with. So what's a market doing in balance? It's waiting for more market-generated information. That's exactly what we're doing. Even though they're balanced, one-time framing up in the weekly and daily, they've got no distance to the upside yet. So to me, it's still firmly balanced. We'll see what happens on Monday. Hope you had a great week. Have a great weekend, and we'll speak prior to the opening on Monday.